All right, y'all. What's going on? What's up? What's up, man? Colstrom said new music. Yeah, I actually used it a couple of times. It's not that new. It's just been on in the back, you know, in the back of my files here. So I haven't really played it, but yeah, I've played it once or twice. But yeah. All right, so let's talk a little post fight. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on this time. I mean, these fights they weren't really like amazing or they really weren't, anything. Well, as far as this title fight, they weren't really like leading to anything huge, but I will kind of discuss them all at once here. I didn't feel like doing a post fight for each fight, so I said I'm gonna just jump on and do a live and, discuss these. I mean, for the most part, at least they turned out better than I thought they would. I think that's the one thing we can't complain about. We can all agree on that, right? Like the fights turned out to be better than we thought. When they first were announced, I know not too many people were feeling them, but they delivered. They delivered, and that's all we can ask, especially for some, unranked fights. There's not much to expect. So we're like, hey, at least can we get some action? Can we get some action up in there? And we did, right? Um, the Cyborg and Pacheco fight, it was good. It wasn't really like this huge classic, but it was a fight for legacy, right? It was a fight for legacy. You got some questions answered there. As far as the level of champ that Pacheco's on, Chris Cyborg still got it, just enough to get, it done. But still, it was a tough fight for it, right? But let me see, UFC. Yeah, what was it? UFC Vegas. That was kind of a first where they put all three of their WMMA fights back to back to back. Like I said, none of them were really like worthy of being on the main card, anyways, right? I mean, it was a UFC Fight Night card, so they could have been on the main card as well. It really wouldn't have mattered. But for the most part, these weren't really like big fights. None of them really that significant. But at least they delivered, right? Let's look at this fight first, though, man. Let's look at the TKO. That's what I'm gonna call this fight, the TKO. Let's look at the TKO right here. The Melissa Martinez, right? That's her name. Melissa Martinez taking on Alice Ardelean. Ardelean. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, Melissa Martinez, Alice Ardelean. Like I said, to me, this here should have ended in the third round. And going back and looking at it, I was just looking back at some of the exchanges. Yeah, I could definitely say that Alice was ahead. When I looked at the strike numbers, there was a couple of times it looked like she was doubling Melissa Martinez. And that's the thing, like Martinez was looking like the fighter that had more of an IQ. She was looking to move like she was the fighter that was the cleaner striker. But when you really look at the work that Melissa Martinez was doing, I'm like, it was just too much movement, too much extra movement. And like I said, the movement was actually taken away from her because Alice was cracking her. Alice was hitting her with some good shots. Alice was hitting her with some good shots and kind of putting a lot of pressure on and out striking her. Whereas Melissa Martinez, she was doing a lot of movement, but she, like I said, she was taking away her own shots because her feet were moving before she could land anything. So I was like, what's the point of this movement here? I mean, if you look at girls like, okay, Manon, Natalia Silva. They might get on the back foot, they might get on the bike and move, but there's a purpose to it. And at the same time, they're not taking away their strike numbers. She, on the other hand, was kind of throwing these overhand lefts that were just off the mark. Every now and then they would land, and I was like waiting for a big shot to like crack Alice, but she was moving so quick that she didn't have enough time to really plant or put any power behind the shots, you know? So I was like, what are you doing? You know, like what are we doing here? You just moving, like just moving and then flailing out shots. But that's one reason I did have her behind. You know, I was like, okay, when I was watching the fight, 30-27, fine, give her that because you know she earned a TKO. But in all honesty, if you look at the first round and the second round, no, like she was having trouble landing, you know, clean shots on Alice. So yeah, Alice Arlen definitely won the first two rounds, I think, you know, with the pressure and, you know, just backing up Miss Martinez and landing her own body shots and right hands. But I'd say the best thing that Martinez had going for her was her variety of kicks, you know, like the kick you see here that ended the fight. Like I said, this fight ended by a body kick. This was like this was her best work, you know, coming from the side kicks that she was throwing, you know, because Alice is just coming straight in. So whenever she's coming straight in, yeah, she could just pierce her with one of these kicks. So she's hitting with a kick, throwing a few axe kicks, trying to get creative with it. But her boxing really wasn't up to par. Her movement looked like she could box, right? Like I'm just being honest. Martinez looked like she was moving like she could box, but she really didn't have the accuracy like that. She didn't have precision. You know, everything she was throwing was kind of off the mark. Had she maybe been a little bit sharper, I think probably she could have dropped this girl early. But all in all, she did earn herself a knockout. I mean, it came with the kicks. That's what it was. That's how good her kicks were. You know, her kicks were on point. That was what was getting the work done for her. So I definitely commend her on that. Like she never stopped trying, even though she was falling behind. You know, she was still in the fight. But the reaction though, man, whenever we got to that third round, um, I think Martinez knew she was behind, so you know she started to turn it up with kicks like this. But yeah, when you see a kick like this, and that's why I showed this one. Look, hold on, let me see if I can move my camera out the way. Yeah, here we go. All right, that's better, right? Okay, see, look how high that foot is, man. Look how high that foot is right there to the stomach. I'm just look. I know we all saw it. We all know. The commentators they saw it. Everybody saw it except the referee. Everybody saw it except the referee. But look how high that kick is. Look, it's right there by the stomach. It ain't nowhere near her groin. Okay. And then when that kick landed, boom, that was her reaction. Look how low she went down. Look how low she went down. You know, she knew better than that, man. She was trying to be cheap, man. Come on. You know, if you got hurt to the stomach, do like Molly McCann did, run it off. You know, Molly McCann, Molly McCann, she Molly McCann when she got kicked to the stomach, you know, she kind of rolled with it. She didn't like just keel over and just lay out. No, she like rolled with it and you know recovered. So and I know look, when you get hit with a body shot, first reaction is, you know, you want to go down and you know that's a shot that you really can't come back from. So I understand like she wanted to buy her some time, but come on, you know that was cheating. Ref, it was on him. It was really on him because you know a fighter's going to do what they got to do to stay in a fight. You know, I've seen it before where you know fighters have been hit on the hip, like was in the boxing. Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. Dubois knocked Usyk out with a body shot. I still think Usyk got knocked out with a body shot in that fight. That was his first loss. I don't care what people say, but Usyk got knocked out by a body shot, and he kind of did the same thing where he was making it like, "Oh, I got hit low. Let me get some time to recover." And she did the same thing. See, look at her. That thing was nowhere. Look, that kick was nowhere near that. It was right up there by the liver, right up there at the top. And then boom, that was her reaction to try to, you know, uh, play it off like it was a low blow. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they could do anything by getting that overturned. No, I don't think they get that overturned now. I mean, maybe she could, maybe she complains, but maybe she's fine with the 30-27. But really, it wasn't a 30-27 victory. It was a much needed knockout win for Martinez, you know, because she was behind. as far as how I saw it. But apparently she wasn't. Apparently she wasn't behind going by them. They had it to what 2018 going into the third round. So she pretty much had it on lock. But yeah, moving forward from here, I know Melissa Martinez, like I said, her striking, I think it needs a little bit more like work, man. I think she really needs to get into her groove of just picking her shots, like the upper body movement, man. It needs to be, she needs to take her time, is what I'm saying. She's got to take her time. Don't be so quick to move. A lot of unnecessary movement is cheating her out of her own work. She's doing herself wrong. She's taking away her own power shots here whenever she could be landing some good counters. Um, so I think that's just something they need to work on, her boxing. Might be her physical strength too. I think her physical strength could be a reason why, maybe she feels like I have to keep moving so girls can't pressure me. I know that's kind of what she faced in the Elise Reed fight. That was her first loss, right? So it's either put on a little bit more muscle and physical strength, or really work on her accuracy. That's how I see it going for her. Because if she continues with this type of fight girls like Loma Labutni, man, boom, that you gonna get taken down. You might get hurt in that type of fight. Even smaller girls like that, So I think that strength is something she's gonna have to put on. I give Alice credit though. Alice Ardelean, man, she is tough. The girl does put on a fight. Will she crack top 15? I don't think so. I think she is a tough, fun fighter. She puts on some action and she won't stop trying. But this zero defense, so just blocking punches with your face, is gonna call for a knockout. You put her in there with Josephine Newsom, put her in there with Denise Gomes, she gonna get laid out. I'm just being honest. She just gonna get laid out like that. So there's got to be some tightening up on her end as well. Yeah, I don't see Martinez or Ardelean getting ranked at top 15 right now. Improvements need to be made, but it was okay fight. It turned out better. When I saw that knockout come, I was like, okay, this is going to be. When I saw that kick to the stomach, I was like, okay, this is a good fight. But that judge kind of took away from it, man. So yeah, not much else to say on it. Still needs some work on both sides. Don't really see anything standing out with either one of them. But speaking of Elise Reed, who does have a win over Melissa Martinez, she did pick herself up another win against Jessica Penne. This fight here, again, it was kind of like my breakdown on it, just my keys to victory as far as what Elise needed to do. I know she's more in her taekwondo, and she was kind of effective with her kicks, but it wasn't really her fight until she started to let her hands go. You got to let your hands go. Like once you get into that rhythm with staying on the outside, you just can't throw kicks, And I noticed like the first round, Panay was having more success clinching her up, boxing her, landing her right hand. It wasn't until Elise Reed started jabbing. Like I was saying, man, I just kept saying it in that second round. I was like, yo, where's the jab? Where's the jab? And then boom, when she starts jabbing, she starts busting Panay up, you know? And, with her being the younger fighter here, like 10 years younger, I'm like, yo, you should have the strength, energy, youth, just to keep this fight at bay, pick her apart. And she started doing that. I mean, Panay was still landing here and there. She was still doing her thing, but Elise Reed, the minute she let her hands go, started letting combinations go, it started going her way. Now she probably could have got a finish too. There was some slow moments in the second round, then in the third round, but that last 10 seconds, she started firing off and she started putting that work in, and Panay was just overwhelmed. But this is another situation, man. Like you starting to see the age on a lot of these fighters, man. I might have to talk about that in another live or another video, man. Like you're really starting to see it now. These girls, they've been around a while. Jessica Penne, Angela Hill, Holly Holm, even Pena as a champion. I mean, you start to see like the decline in their bodies. There's little injuries that they're not talking about behind the scenes. Like even for Pena, there's little things going on where they're having to do extra recovery and stuff like, stuff like that where, they have to have that recovery time now because their bodies are so they're getting to be brittle. Like that's the thing people don't understand. They think that athletes, they're huge and they got the nice muscles and everything. No, their body, it takes a lot to get it that way. It goes through a lot of pain, of training, muscle tears, weight cuts, and then you got to think of the absorbing of punches and kicks, like the punishment they're taking through training and sparring, and then in the actual fight. These girls, these men and women, they're taking a beating. So the bodies they can look a certain way, yeah, all day long. The muscles, they can be crafted to look nice and stuff, but like same with Panay. Panay's figure is nice. Yeah, she's physically fit, but um, when it comes down to actual longevity, as far as like how she's feeling and living, like you're gonna be in a lot of pain. Gonna be a lot of pain now. So when I see fighters like her going in here taking fights like this and taking beatings like this, man, I'm like, yo, was it worth it? Is it really worth it at this point? At least Angela Hill still got a ranking, and Angela Hill, she can still bank some victories. Like Angela Hill could still go down as somebody that has not finished, but has stopped a lot of hype trains. She stops a lot of hype trains, but Panay's just kind of been on that cuffs now, and she's just down there, So there's really no need to do that anymore. It's not worth it. See, at least Angela Hill, she get paid, and she still got a ranking, and she's still getting better. Like Angela Hill is still getting better. To me, she's gotten better. Let me put it that way. But I don't think Panay really stands a chance to beat anybody at this point. But yeah, this was a fight. This was a fight that Elise Reed definitely on paper should have won. Moving forward for her, like I said before, I think Elise Reed is the type of fighter that needs to train with somebody like Rose Namajunas. I think, since she likes to use her stand up so much and that Taekwondo, and now she's kind of incorporating the jab in her boxing a little bit. I think somebody like Elise Reed could benefit from working with Rose because, Rose is definitely slick with takedowns too in wrestling. And I think that's something Elise Reed has kind of been trying to avoid in some fights, like in this fight, like whenever she get pinned against the cage, she was trying to, get off, she was trying to get right back to the center. So I think, takedown defense is important for her, and working with somebody like that can build up her wrestling and her strength, wrestling IQ, you know. Again, turned out to be a decent fight. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Josh, she's there for a paycheck, but that's my point. That's not a good reason to be there unless you at least get into a good level like Angela Hill where you can still hold it down. There's really not a point in doing that. Donovan, what's up? He said a lot are about done, even though they can still be competitive. Yeah, to me, they lean more towards being done than competitive nowadays, especially like when the beatings are actually worse than the victories they do get. You know what I mean? Like the victories they do get don't really hold that memory versus that last beatdown they taken. You know what I mean? Like it seems to be worse. Like they take home more punishment and face more damage than actually reaping a reward. Yeah, Panay's got to retire. Panay has got to retire at this point. She needs to retire to me. I don't think she really brings anything. Yeah, she just don't have that physical requirement at 115. Like style wise, too. A lot of pushing with her punches in this fight left her wide open. And number one, defense. The number one thing is her defense. Like her style of defense, it's just not there. I mean, last fight against Emily Ducote, dang near lost her leg in that fight. I mean, the way Emily Ducote was tearing that leg up in this fight, she's taking punches too. So yeah, too much, too much. Like even though I say like strawweight isn't on the level of flyweight, it's still a dangerous division. Still is dangerous. Axel said, did Panay fight before at flyweight? Did she fight at flyweight? I don't think so. Like I thought she's atomweight. She actually been at an atomweight, man. Hold on. Jessica Panay was actually an atomweight at one point, right? And Invicta, I might be wrong now. I know Michelle Waterson was the atomweight champion. She was an atomweight champion. Hold on. Atomweight champion. Because she lost the belt. She lost the belt to Michelle Waterson. Yeah, yeah, she was never flyweight. She was atom weight. Yeah. I remember that. It was like one of the early Invicta cards. Jessica Penne, she won the belt at 105, and then she lost it to Michelle Waterson. That was like years ago. Years ago. And oh yeah, she fought Loopy at flyweight more recently. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, again, just a fight, just to watch, just a fight to watch. But for Reed, I mean, there's definitely some improvements shown for her, but at least Reed, yeah, definitely, she's still one we could say she puts the work in and she gets the right things worked on. She makes the right changes. She could get there. She could get there. Possible, 15. We see some of these other girls get 15, like Lana Pinheiro and so on. Of course, those girls have gotten gift decisions, but with somebody like you, at least Reed, she's gonna have to work for it, right? Mm. All right. What else? Dog, doggone it. Look at your girl, man. Jocelyn Edwards actually got her a crowd pleasing victory, but it was at the cost of lose, losing on the scales. And this is another one, man. Like when I saw, this fight get announced, I was just kind of like, okay, all right. Let's see what happens in this fight. Let's see what type of work gets done in this one. Like, can Elise Reed, can she do it? Not Elise Reed, but can Jocelyn Edwards, can she come in here and do something different? Can she show out? Tamiris Vidal, can she do it? She's more of like a brawler, but I had to lean towards Edwards in this fight, even with the weight cut. I said Edwards. Edwards is probably gonna, be able to control it, but it might be kind of boring. But she actually fought like her job was on the line. She knew she messed up when she missed that weight. She was like, I gotta perform. She used that weight to her advantage, and she said, hey, I gotta perform in here because if I lose, here and I lost on the scales, I lost money and I might be losing the renewal contract here, right? So she she did right. Even though she missed weight, which we can't really give her full on credit for the win, but well, we give her credit for the performance and everything, but I'm just saying, like, uh still we have questions for Jocelyn Edwards. Tamiris Vidal is lacking. She's just comes in there with that brawling style. Doesn't really have a solid BJJ game. I've seen her on the ground a few times, but still, like, it wasn't much. If anything was rubbing off on Jocelyn Edwards from Valentina, I think it has been the takedowns now and just letting that killer instinct go. So good on Jocelyn Edwards to finally get a crowd pleasing victory. And it all came by letting her hands go. Like when she started letting her kicks go, body kicks, punches, spinning back fists, doing a little bit of everything in there. Of course, again, that's the quality of opponent, but it made her look like she could be a little bit more intimidating. She was actually taking chances and trying stuff. And then, getting some takedowns in the fight, getting some takedowns and using the size. That was a good thing. I mean, we rarely seen her do anything like that before in fights. I just seen her, peck her way to a decision, with kicks, but never really seen her with a solid ground game. Seen her on her back against, Jessica Rose Clark and Carol Rosa, but never really seen her actually execute some things. But like I said, man, it just came down to that point where she knew her job probably on the line and she had to get it in. She had to get it done. So good on her to get a victory. She got that crank in, that rear naked choke, ended it quick in the third round. Yeah, yeah. So good fight. But at the cost, like I said, missing weight, doesn't really deserve a finishing bonus. First finish she got in the UFC, right? But all I asked was it turned out to be an entertaining fight, at least when I'm calling it. Get me on the edge of my seat somewhat. Thank you. Thank you, Jocelyn, for doing that, not putting me to sleep. All right. But yeah, Mark said Jocelyn's performance was good, but it's a little tainted due to missing weight. Oh, yeah, it's tainted, man. Paul said less than 2 weeks away. Good chick fights. Yes, sir. Josh said Jocelyn Edwards won't beat anyone in the top 10. 308 is unbelievable. Yeah, 308 is good. Surprisingly, there's no women on the card, though. Is Jacqueline Cavalcanti ranked? No, not yet. That's what I was asking yesterday, like who get ranked first, Jacqueline or Jocelyn? I would say Jacqueline gets ranked first, though. I think Jacqueline is, though both of them don't really have like a killer instinct, but Jacqueline, I think she could have a killer instinct. I think Jacqueline could rise to the occasion. I think Jacqueline's a little bit more solid when it comes to technique and execution. She's definitely a little bit more smarter. I think she makes smarter choices in fights. Cavalcanti, that is. I just want to see what she looks like against, some grapplers like maybe Yana, Misha Tate, and Eileen Perez is 14, right? Perez Cavalcanti, that would be a good fight. I bet you they might make Misha Tate versus Eileen Perez because Eileen Perez is 14, or Yana Santos to try to get her into the top 10 fast. But yeah, this was kind of one of those throwaway bantamweight fights. Missed weight. Tamiris Vidal is not really like somebody that's hitting on much. And Jocelyn Edwards, she's kind of hit or miss. She's been hit or miss. Missed weight three out of 5 fights, right? So is she really a bantamweight right now? So I don't know. She's got to watch out with the weight misses and the possibility of losing. She could be on that chopping block. Jocelyn Edwards, that is, right? She could be on that chopping block, but I don't know. She got to stay focused from here. Axel said Jacqueline should fight somebody in the top 15. Yeah, I would like to see her fight 3 names. I would like to see her fight Yana, Misha Tate, or even GDR. Like, since GDR was going to fight Cornell, but Cornell lost that fight, then put Jacqueline in there with GDR. And that would be a good fight. Jacqueline, I think she would be, it would be wise to put her in there with somebody that's a grappler, but for some reason that fight kind of excites me, as far as like stand up versus stand up. That would be good. But let me see here. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, close from Edwards versus Josiane Nunes. That would be good. Tainara Lisboa, yeah, I believe she's still in therapy. No. I think she's training now. She should be back to training. Tainara Lisboa should be back to doing what she's supposed to do, getting ready for her next fight. No announcements, but yeah, Tainara Lisboa, I like her. I like her style too, man. I like to see her. Her and Cornell, that would be a good matchup. That would be a good matchup. I believe, both of their stand-ups would make a good fight. Matching that type of that type of discipline together. Yeah, that'd be a good stand-up fight. I hope everything's all right with her knee, though. All right, so yeah, those are the 3 fights on the UFC card. They were the unranks, and they somewhat delivered. I pretty much got those picks. I mean, yeah, Edwards. I went with Martinez, and I went with Elise Reed. I didn't really think, like I said, Jessica Penne wasn't going to do much, and yeah, I think at this point, yeah, she probably needs to call it a day. Probably needs to call it a day. She's probably the one that I was put on that list of retirement now. But even more so than Holly, because she's not even ranked and doesn't even stand to make as much money as Holly if she chose to stay around. At least Holly can say, okay, I can still get paid. I can still make a couple of main events, right? Of course, that doesn't do much for her health, but anyways. All right, so let's move on to this PFL main event for the WMMA fans. So yeah, shout out to Cyborg, Grand Slam champ. That's 5 organizations. That's 5 organizations for her. And she proves it again. There's levels to this thing. But at the same time, Larissa Pacheco, man, if you want to be a champion, it's right. When it's right there, you got to take it. Or if it's not there, you got to take it by force. And there was a lot of those moments in this fight. That's the first thing I'll say is Larissa Pacheco had her moments. There was a lot of times in this fight where it was just presented to her. I mean, it was shining, man. It was like, hey, grab it. Diamond's right here. Go ahead and take it. But what would she do? She would just kind of step in, touch it, giggle, and step away. You know what I mean? That's what it seemed like. Oh, somebody trying to give you something, and it's right there in front of your face, and you're still not sure if you want it. Well, that's how it is sometimes. Like people, they fight for a top spot. They fight to get there, and they do all that hard work, and then when they finally get it, it's like, I don't know if I want it. They kind of got cold. They kind of get cold feet. I kind of got that impression from Larissa Pacheco in this fight, man. There was a couple of times where she just seemed like she had cold feet in this fight. And that's not good, man. Like that's really not good. Like, because now it just kind of shows you, okay, Larissa Pacheco, she had the skills to do it against certain levels of fighters, like, okay, she finally beat Kayla Harrison in the third fight after losing 2 times. Knocks out Kolesnik 3 times. I mean, that girl didn't even have no business being in there with her, right? Let's be honest. She had no business being in there with her. But when you look at some of the other people on the resume, okay, Marina Mahotnica, that was a good win. She didn't go in there and dominate her, like finish her, break her down. Julia Budd, she didn't really finish or break down either, So when you kind of look at the MMA math on this one, I can understand where people were coming from when they picked Pacheco, but I had to go with Chris because of her power and her strength and her skill set. Her skill set and her experience. But age started to show. Age really did start to show with Chris last night. It did. It started to show, and that's why I said, like, for Pacheco, this was her chance to finally go in there and try to break her opponent down, or at least take that opportunity when it was presented to her. Yeah, Tiago, he said we'd like to see Cyborg back in the UFC. Really, only if they have featherweight. Only if they have featherweight, I don't think it would do her any good to be at like 135. But yeah, if they had like a featherweight division that was well rounded out, and if Amanda was still there, yeah, I would say I would like to see her back in the UFC. Josh, you said, is Pacheco UFC material? Yeah, Dana should re-sign her. 135 though. That's the question, man. 135. 135 is killing these girls right now. I mean, prayers go out to Diana Silva, man. She's still in a coma for trying to make 145. I mean, I just posted that up. I mean, earlier today, I don't know if any of y'all heard about that young lady try to make featherweight for the first time. And, she goes into a coma. So, I don't think it'd be wise for Larissa Pacheco to target the UFC at bantamweight. I think she needs to be a featherweight or a lightweight, and that's the only way to go to the UFC. So I would like to see them in the UFC only if there's only if there's a featherweight or lightweight division. But yeah, I think Larissa Pacheco, man, like in this fight, it was one of those situations where she just kind of felt like, I'm here now. Maybe that's as high as I can go. But she didn't really know what to do with the opportunities when they were there. Again, we know you're going to respect your opponent, of course, but don't get starstruck. I still think she was a little starstruck in there. It wasn't like Megan Anderson starstruck, like when Megan Anderson was fighting Amanda Nunes. It was kind of like Ketlin Vieira versus Miesha Tate in some ways. Like Miesha Tate already busted up, but you ain't going in there finishing and get the fight. I think Larissa Pacheco, look, you got Chris Cyborg in front of you bleeding and kind of giving you the opportunity to come after her. Why not take it? And like I said, the vision was compromised a couple of times too. There was a couple of times where, Chris had the Vaseline running down her eye where it looked like she couldn't see. And, as a fighter, you got to capitalize on that. And she didn't really do that. She didn't just go ahead and jump on it. Like, go ahead and get the shot, So I don't know. Like, I just didn't see that level in there in Pacheco. I mean, the power was there, but the overall commitment of, getting it wasn't there. And, when that ain't there, man, you're going to lose a fight. You're going to lose a fight, no doubt. When you just ain't got it as far as wanting to go get it, you won't get it. You will not get it. See, Chris had enough to still rely on. Even a Chris that's this old, maybe, feeling it physically, because it looked like she was kind of feeling it last night. She still has enough to get a victory. She knows how to pace herself, knows how to slow it down. Even when she was making mistakes, she knew how to just step back and get out of the way and not put herself in danger. Because there was a couple of times Chris had started to swing wild too and left herself wide open with the right hand, but Pacheco just didn't take it. What's funny is they kind of both were going by my keys to victory here, because like I said, with Chris, she needs to be more patient. And she was patient. Like, even though she was getting tore up like in those couple of spots and she looked a little worn down, she did kind of show a lot of patience. Even whenever Pacheco was trying to lure her into the center of the cage and try to pull her into a fight, I'm surprised like Cyborg didn't bite onto that. She didn't take that bait. So she did show a lot of patience, and that did help her. And what's funny is Pacheco, she literally did what I said she needed to do. I mean, she did it by doing it. You know what I mean? Like, most fighters, you'll just set traps, but she just straight up called it out. Hey, come to the center of the cage. Let's fight. She knew what she was doing. Like, she was trying to get Cyborg to go buck so she could catch her. I mean, that's what made it funny, is she was just trying to call her. She was trying to literally bring that old Cyborg out by saying, hey, let's fight, come to the center of the cage. But, Chris was just staying back, staying calm, and not taking a bait. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, overall, I thought Chris just did enough to take every round except one. The first round, timing, takedown, out wrestle, top control in round one. Same thing with the second round, right? I mean, Pacheco throws a naked right hand, doesn't even set it up behind the jab. Takedown, ground control time, Cyborg again. Her best round, Pacheco, was the third round, where she started to let her hands go more, and she did hit Chris with some good right hands. And I mean, when you see somebody bleeding with two eyes bleeding like that, I'm surprised Pacheco didn't really smell blood and just want to go after the kill, go in for the kill. Like, she really didn't go after. She really didn't go after it. It was kind of frustrating to me to see that. Like, you got this fighter bleeding, and they're giving you opportunities. So why are you not taking it? Why are you not taking these opportunities? So she's the only one to blame. That's how it always is, though. Like, once you deny yourself a victory, there's nobody to blame but you. You can't blame your team, nobody. Because I think Pacheco had more than enough tools to win this fight. Oh yeah, she had more than enough to win when it came down to skill set. Because yeah, Colostrum, you pick Pacheco, right? So yeah, I definitely can see why you would pick her, because she had more than enough to win the fight. She didn't have enough. She didn't need to have all these other tools that Chris had or Amanda had. She had more than enough to win the fight. Now, mentally, of course, she didn't, but I'm just saying, she had more than enough to execute a win. I mean, jab, right hand was right there. Chris's boxing didn't look as sharp. Chris stopped throwing the jab after the first round. Chris's jab looked good in the first round, but she stopped throwing it after the first round. It was like she didn't want to get hit with that right anymore. That right hand hit her. And at one point, whenever Pacheco grabbed the leg and hit her with the right and she went down, yeah, that's when she kind of stopped. So she went into wrestle mode. Yeah, she started wrestling more. Colostrum, she started wrestling like that. And I knew that was going to happen. Like I said, my keys to victory, Chris gonna have to start wrestling in this fight. She gonna have to start wrestling here, because I know Pacheco's power is real. Her power is real. And if she want to keep, if Chris want to, stay in this fight, and she want to keep, her all, keep everything intact, she ain't gonna want to be trading with her. So yeah, Chris Cyborg did what she was supposed to do, as far as just stay in that mode. Kind of like Grasso and Shevchenko in the third fight. Valentina didn't want to stay on the feet too long. So as older fighter with more experience, they start going to the ground more. She was like, I ain't gonna stand here with this girl too long. So I think Cyborg kind of tried to do the same thing, but Pacheco does have better get up. She is stronger. So she was popping back up a couple of times. But yeah, that third round was all I could give Pacheco, man. I couldn't even give her the fourth, man. I mean, she was dictating the pace in like the first minute, I would say, of the fourth round. I was about to give it to Pacheco, but I said, okay, now she ain't doing nothing. Now she's stopping. So Chris comes in landing more um, combinations, a couple of barrages, and lands good right hand on Pacheco on the left, and kind of stumbled her, I believe, in that fourth round. And I was like, okay, that's it. That goes to Pacheco. I mean, that goes to Chris Cyborg. Fifth round, again, like she was just waiting, just waiting. This is it, man. Like she did not go after it. Cyborg, was doing it again, taking her down. She was getting up, but she was just not in control, and she was getting hit with the better of the exchanges in there. And the thing is, if you look at it, yeah, Pacheco looked like she was the one maybe leading, right? Because she had no marks on her. She took a good head kick well to stay in the fight, caught Chris a couple of times, but it just comes down to that heart sometimes, man. Like, yeah, Pacheco has heart, but it just comes down to knowing, how to get it and what to do to keep it, like to keep that lead. That's what Chris was able to do. Like I think Chris was banking those rounds in her head, and she was thinking on the fly. That's a part of IQ. Once you're in there thinking, at the same time, you're still alert of what your opponent is doing. So that's why she didn't really take that bait in that one round where Pacheco was trying to get her to, engage in the fight. She was like, all right, I know when I'm going to fight. I know when I'm going to engage. I know I'm going to get a takedown. I'm not going to fall for anything stupid. So, but other than that, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you look at it though, you like Chris took some damage though. Like if we look at that side of it, Chris's body language in this fight definitely looked like somebody had gotten older. Mentally, yeah, because she kept her composure and she still fought smart in some parts, but physically she was getting damaged. Of course, he's fighting Pacheco, who's got heavy hands and damaging blows. So, but still, you never really seen Chris in this type of war before, and that kind of shows you that the competition that she was fighting was a big step up from some of the girls in the past, right? And then you kind of thought about it like, okay, if Arlene Blenko can go 5, I'm sure Pacheco can, right? But I just thought maybe Chris was going to go in there and land something big. So I said, okay, maybe Chris will work Pacheco and maybe get her out of there by the third, because Pacheco might leave herself wide open. But yeah, I think there were two forms of Chris in there. Definitely saw a smarter Chris, but you saw an older Chris too. You saw one that took some shots, looked a little bit winded at times, and was open for a finish. It's just her opponent didn't know how to capitalize on it. That's how I saw it. Close said Cyborg had 4 eyebrows. Yeah, both eyes were open in this one, man. And she still didn't get it. Still didn't get it. Let's see. Josh said Nunes and Cyborg probably could have went either way. It's just whoever lands first. Yeah, I believe whoever lands the cleanest could knock them out. But if it comes down to like pacing and just taking their time and strategy, I think I would still pick Amanda. I think I would still pick Amanda. Like even in a rematch, like they had fought, like say if this was, like I said yesterday, if this was Amanda on this night too, I still think she would win. Close would say, yeah, I would still pick Nunes too. Josh said when Cyborg beat Gina Carano in '09, she was the most feared until Amanda's fight with her. Yeah, she was. I mean, all the way up until that point, she was still considered, and she still is, for good reason. Colstrom says Cyborg couldn't get up in the third round. She was stuck on the bottom, and people thought she was going to maul Pacheco and stop her. James says Cyborg landed better shots as a whole and more of them. Yeah, I definitely think she did land more. She did land more and more. She did land more significant shots. I mean, look at the numbers. I mean, the thing is, it was on Pacheco to take advantage of the damage that was done. You know what I mean? Like you hit a you hit a major spot and it's opened up. That's the whole point of ending it early. It's kind of like that Lennox Lewis and Klitschko fight. People always say, "Oh, Lennox Lewis, oh, he lost." Wait, he did right, man. I mean, he busted up Klitschko. Might have been falling behind on the ConcuBox numbers, but he kept working the cut. He kept working that face and kept rearranging his face, even though he was behind until what? The dude couldn't go on. That should have been Pacheco's plan here. Is like Chris might have hit her with some hard, significant shots, maybe more of them, but it should have been on Pacheco to land that period to end the fight. Because that's what it's about too. Like if the other person is they're creating the work and they continue to gain points and they're winning rounds. It's on you to go ahead and end it, especially if you already opened up some weak points here. You got your opponent bleeding. I'm behind, but they're bleeding. It's time to take their face off, but she still didn't do that, you know. Mm. But moving on from here, Chris Cyborg, man, it's two more fights maybe for her. I agree with her. That should probably be it. I know one opponent, Sarah Collins, wants to fight with Chris Cyborg. I know she's still only like 3-0 or 4-0, but hey, if she's calling for it, let her get it. Sarah Collins, she's a tough little grappler too. But I think you just need to have that well-rounded game, like well-rounded game and some power, proven power like Pacheco. But you got to act on. Oh no, okay. Sarah Collins is 6-0. She's the one that just finished Leah McCourt. Yeah, she finished Leah McCourt because Leah McCourt was supposed to get the shot. Well, Leah McCourt don't deserve that shot. I mean, right now anymore, right? Leah McCourt don't deserve it. But we knew Leah McCourt was gonna fight if she beat Sarah Collins. So Sarah Collins is doing right. If you beat that girl who's supposed to get it, you get her shot. So that could be her next opponent to end this MMA career. Maybe one more after that. I mean, who else is there? Who's she gonna fight? Is she gonna fight Pacheco again? What do you think, Colostrum? Do you think she should fight her again? Do you think Pacheco deserves a rematch? I mean, she fought Kolesnik 3 times, right? Why not? You said Pacheco took her best hit, so that should have motivated her to get it. Yeah, it should have. It should have motivated her to get it. Like when she took that head kick in the first round, she took a couple of those left hooks and right hands, and I saw like Pacheco kind of shake him off. I was like, "Uh-oh, Pacheco about to go get her." But then what did she do? She just sat back and waited, man. So I don't know, like Julia Budd or Sarah McMahon. Ooh, no, nah, not really. Sarah McMahon already lost to Leah McCourt. Sarah McMahon got finished by Leah McCourt, and Chris already finished Julia Budd. Yeah, Michelle Montague. Michelle Montague, she's kind of a beast too, man. Like Michelle Montague, I've been looking at her, man. Like that girl's kind of a beast. So I mean, if girls like her over there and they want it, shoot, let her fight. Let me see, Michelle Montague, because she's undefeated too, right? Yeah, they're both 6-0, her and Sarah Collins. So they're kind of in that same position. I know she doesn't really have any big names, but that's just what it is. You can fight who you fight. Man, Michelle Montague, man, call her the rear naked girl, man. She done, dang, all her submissions are rear naked choke, man. I just hope with Michelle Montague, she don't get caught into thinking that the rear naked's got to come in every fight. You know what I mean? Like, I hope she does work on other things, which I'm sure she does. I'm just hoping that she's not a fighter that's superstitious, like, oh, if I don't get it in this fashion, then I won't win. I'm sure she's not. Maybe she's open to other ways of getting it, but I'm just saying, like, look at that. 3, 6, all 6 wins by rear naked choke. That's crazy. Since Wait a minute, since Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey was nothing but arm bars, right? how long did Ronda Rousey go before her victories changed up? Like she's got a TKO. Let me see. Let's see Ronda Rousey's resume here. Like, did Ronda Rousey go on a? How long was her armbar tear? All right. So if we go, okay, yeah. Ronda Rousey went. Let's see. Her first fight was Ian Gomez by armbar. Okay, so she went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah, she went 8 armbars in a row. She went 8 armbars in a row, and then she got a knee to the body and a TKO over Sarah McMahon and Alexis Davis. So yeah, that's when she started getting a couple of finishes on the feet. And then she went back to armbar and Kat Zingano, and then she stopped Betch Cohair. So yeah, she went 8 armbars in a row. And yeah, Michelle Montague's gone 6 rear naked chokes in a row. So that'd be crazy, man. Colstrom said Michelle Montague versus Aspen Ladd. Yeah, that'd be a good fight. That would be a good one. Donovan says Sarah McMahon is basically retired at this point. She should be. Don't know the last time Bud fought. Bud fought Pacheco last year, I believe. Yeah, Julia Bud fought Larissa Pacheco last year, I think. I can check. Not opposing either of them to fight Cyborg though. I don't want to see Sarah McMahon fight Cyborg because yeah, she lost to Leah McCourt. And she got finished by her in the first round. I'll pass on that one. Between her and Kat, they kind of both are semi-retired. Maybe Kat and Sarah McMahon should fight. Maybe they should do. Maybe they should fight though. Let me see. Sarah McMahon, Julia Budd. Hold on, Julia Budd. Julia Budd. Oh yeah. Julia Budd fought Martina Genrova last year, and she fought Larissa Pacheco last year. Yeah, she does have one win. Like she's won since then. But Aspen Ladd versus Michelle Montague, that would be good. That's a step up in competition. Oh, okay. Marcus said Bud was released from PFL. Yeah, that's right. She got yeah, I remember now. Yeah, she got released. That's yep. She sure did. Zingano and McMahon should have fought for interim title when Cyborg was boxing. Yeah, they should have. But I remember at that time, Kat was like waiting and waiting. Like Kat had only fought like some unranked fighters at the time. It wasn't until she fought Leah McCourt, right? Till she actually got a name. That's what I was saying. Like maybe she needs to fight Sarah or somebody. Because at that point there, it just seemed like there was a lot of holdup. But yeah, at least they have a featherweight division over here, man. Like Bellator, at least they've got something going, man. The UFC, before I get out of here, I'm gonna get off here in a few minutes here. The UFC, they really need to consider putting up that featherweight division. I mean, I know Dana was talking about atom weight, but you kind of need both right now. You really do. All right, hold on. But let's take a look. There's nothing going on next week. 308, of course, there is a card, but there's no women's fights. All right. There's no women fights. There's no women fights this coming Saturday. But yeah, the card overall looks good. Let me see. Just double checking here. I wonder how Josh said close 135, move everybody to 145. Most of the girls you have at 135 are featherweights. Like, I'm sure a lot of them could stand to you know, add a little bit more weight to their bodies instead of making these rough weight cuts. You know, if you go all the way down, you know, everybody was kind of struggling to make 135. I'm sure Amanda would come back for that. You know, I'm sure Amanda would try to jump back in the mix for that. Hold on. UFC. Yeah, man. 2 weeks from now. Dang, time is moving. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks we got Aaron and Rose. So yeah, we don't have any WMMA fights this weekend, but the weekend after, you know, I'll be on for that. I'll be on for that card, man. We're gonna call that card. It should be a good fight. And then I know Lipsky Jasmine, that should be a good fight. What do y'all think about Lipsky Jasmine, man? Do you think Lipsky knocks out Jasmine, or Jasmine's gonna be able to weather her storm? Let me see. Michelle Montague, Abby Montez. Oh, damn, I forgot Abigail Montez. She got choked out by, yeah, she got choked out too, didn't she? Michelle Montague choked her out too. Girl that beat Clarissa Shields. Yeah, she been losing to everybody. She won against Clarissa Shields, but she lost to Kolesnik, Montague, Marina Modnica. Then she lost to Jamie Eaton too. Dang, she 4-4 already. She about lost that Clarissa fight too. Tiago said no women's MMA, but the card's great. No, there's none. But yeah, the card is definitely going to be worth watching. You know, Jeff Neal, Rafael Dos Santos, Dos Anjos, Saeed Murgamedov, Daniel Santos. They're all in the prelims. And of course, you got Hamzat and Whitaker, Lerone Murphy. Not Lauren Murphy, but Lerone Murphy. Tough. Then you got Tupiria and Max Holloway. That should be some good exchanges in that fight. Magomedov is taking on Petrosyan. Bunch of Magomedovs on this card. Oh, yeah. Cyril Gane and Volkov is off, though. Definitely not a bad card. Definitely good. Saeed Murgamedov is, yeah. Yeah, definitely not bad. Let's see. Josh said Jasmine isn't getting KO. Maybe Jasmine by ground and pound, though. Yeah, we'll see. I might see a flash. I kind of see a flash knockdown in that fight, depending on how Lipsky is turned up. You know what I mean? Like if Lipsky is not letting them hands go, or she's sitting back being a little too patient, because Montana did finish Lipsky, and if Jasmine's game is a little bit up to par, she could do it too. I'm just saying, like, I think she could get Lipsky down because she's big and strong enough too. Watch Hamzat bail out again. This dude need to get out. You think he gonna bail out, man? I think he'll show up for this one. When was his last fight? Last year, right? Yeah, his fight was last year. That Usman fight. I remember calling that fight. And I was like, I thought about it just like a couple months ago. I was like, when's Hamzat fighting again? I was like, the last time I called one of his fights, it was like a year ago. So yeah, he been out of commission. I mean, come on now. Mark said one thing to mention is that Kareem didn't finish Lipsky. Yeah, Kareem didn't finish her. Yeah, Kareem didn't. That's what's crazy. Montana did though. Of course, that was a different Lipsky, but still. What kind of anger, what kind of rage is Jasmine gonna bring into this fight? Is she gonna be pulling hair? Oh yeah, Verna and Tatiana. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Those if the scrambles happen. If they both turn into boxers in that fight, I'm gonna be mad. No, I ain't gonna be mad, but if they both turn into boxers that night, if both Suarez and Verna they start boxing up in there, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. I won't be fully disappointed because somebody could still get dropped, but I want to still see somebody show who has the better ground game, who has the best scrambles, who's got the best submission defense, and so on. Lipsky versus Jasmine's 50-50. Yeah, as much as I want to say Lipsky's got enough to do, I still think that's a 50-50 fight. I still think that was, I still would say that's 50-50. Closum said, no, Tatiana already said they're gonna grab her. Okay. Yeah, she better. She better. That's the thing. I don't know if Verna will though. Verna, she can, Verna can strike now. Verna can't put them hands on you. So Verna might be looking to box and strike in this fight. That's what she's got to be alert of. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna get off here now. But yeah, real quick. What else do we got going on? Nothing besides 308 this weekend. I mean, as far as that being a good card, but there's really no other women's fights. Yeah, I just think that you're starting to see, man, like you're starting to see the new era of fighters coming in. Yeah, all right, good night, Josh. You're starting to see a new era of fighters come in, but you're also starting to see the wear and tear on some of these older fighters too, man. Like, as much as I hate to admit it, and because I like to watching a lot of these girls fighting, 10 years ago or so, but it might be about time to go. And even that deterioration, like I was saying, man, like Wei Lee, getting dropped a lot in one fight. When she get hit clean, your body shut down. Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena was getting put down. She got put down in that round. Her body shut down. These girls are taking a lot off their life, man. And I was just watching a boxing match last night. Tim Zhu. I know James probably saw it. Tim Zhu, he got murdered last night. I mean, he got dropped. I want to say 4 times. Somebody said 6. I got to watch it again, but you get dropped 4 to 6 times in 3 rounds, man. Something is wrong with your chin and something's wrong with your brain at that point. I mean, he got dropped 3 times in 1 round. And the way his body kept falling over, Tim Zhu looked like he lost something. Because, I mean, if he fought this other guy, Sebastian Fondora, and Sebastian Fondora probably took a lot out of him, man, because he had a bad cut on the forehead, probably bad concussion. And then you come back and fight like that, man. So, as time goes, he had a cut kind of like Juliana Pena did, and that takes a lot out of you, man. You cut right there, split down the forehead, where your skull is exposed. He was cut the same way. So him being in boxing, which is much more dangerous than MMA, because there's more deaths and it's proven, and the punches are, proven to kill people more. He was getting dropped multiple times in this fight. Had Juliana Pena been like a boxer or something, and she was fighting a boxer in Rocky all night, and that's all they could do, that fight probably would have ended in Juliana Pena getting knocked out. Because, yeah, you saw like Juliana Pena get dropped 5 times in a Amanda Nunes fight. Had she been fighting somebody that had more power and was strictly dropping devastating shots, Pena would have got knocked out. Because that does something to you, getting dropped that many times in a fight, your brain constantly being shut off like this, you going down, and then taking more and more punishment, brain swelling. It's crazy, man. So I'm just looking at that. You never know, even like Valentina, man, like, Valentina, she didn't want to exchange. Like I'm saying, I'm not, Valentina, she's gone through her career as a defensive specialist, but you just never know, like, what type of punishment somebody takes in sparring or why they are defensive. Maybe they are more so defensive minded because their chin could be bad in the first place. You never know, right? Like some fighters, they are specifically focused on discipline. Like I see this in boxing all the time. Like sometimes you see guys that are just defensive specialists because they can't trade. And then when they get older, it gets exposed, Like, Joe Louis, he one of the best fighters in the world. Like he didn't have the best chin, but as he got older, you could start to see like once that chin get tapped, you go down. Right. So you just never know. Like same thing with Valentina. She probably felt like she had to wrestle throughout that whole fight. She was like, there's no need to take Grasso's punches anymore. There's no need to go in there and even try to play the stand-up game. So it's just one of those situations, man. As time goes on, um, and as fighters slow down, questions will be answered. One of my favorite fighters, Roy Jones, same deal with him. Roy started to slow down, reflexes gone, chin gets tapped. Fighters start to get put out easier, you know? Yeah. Pena's forehead. Yeah, Pena's forehead was wide open, man. It was wide open. Mm. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just don't know. Like one day I'll put up a list of fighters I think they do need to retire. Have they not retired by the time I discuss it again? But yeah, these punches, man, they'll do something to you. They will do something to you. And it doesn't even need to be like a accumulation of punches and fights down the line. It could just be that one fight, man. I know last year, no, maybe it was like 2022, had like 3 or 4 boxers die, from and these are just amateurs, like amateurs and like lower level professional fighters just dying, man. So it's crazy, you got to be careful. Got to be careful with it. But I'm getting out here, y'all. Hit that like button on your way out. And yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one, whenever that might be, because I'll be kind of busy this week. I might catch y'all on yeah, I'll be working all this week. I ain't gonna have no time to do any lives. I will do a couple videos though. Pine K said, who you got between Valentina and Manon? I'm gonna do an early look video on that. I'll probably do an early look video and I'll put it out Monday or Tuesday, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. Because I haven't really had a chance to just speak on that fight because so many other things been going on. I talked about the face off and the missed opportunity, but I'll give my early look on Valentina Manon, even before it's been announced. I won't give a prediction yet, but I'll tell you how honestly I think the fight will play out and what it'll bring to the table. But yeah, on that note, hit that like, y'all, subscribe. I'm getting up out of here. Peace.